Cyclekart engine packaging is always a super pain in the ass. Um, yeah, so I had it. I had the CVT clock 12. I had it clock 10. A whole bunch. It ended up. What are we clocked at? 5 o'clock. And I did a little bit of a drop mount. Tried to keep it as simple. Keep it simple. Less bends and weirdness as I could, while keeping the engine packaged as close to the axle and as low as I could get, and it not be ridiculous or stupid. The Austin 7 I did. I had the engine. I had the CVT clocked 6 o'clock, and I had it almost kissing that thing, and the engine was really really low as well. I don't have as much of a concern to get the engine that close to the axle on here. The easy route is, for me, I would say, would be to clock it 5 o'clock, or sorry, 7 o'clock, like it is right there, and then have the engine up at an angle and back a little bit would probably be the little bit of the easier route. You don't have to mount these super level. I've seen a guy had a motorcycle made out of one of these, and it was actually, the piston was straight up and down. So for us, the Cyclekarts, it's advantageous to do it this way, because the mount's just easier to work with. But again, you can get crazy with clocking that engine. A couple of 1-inch square tubing, pieces of 1-inch square tubing. To get my drop base, I just used, you can see right there, extra 2x3. I just got it stitched in here, kind of just to mock up, just to see what's going on. So it'll be a little bit lower, and I got the spacers in there too, so it could go even lower than that. I don't think I'll need to, and it's not like super low hanging out the back of the chassis or anything. Yeah, it's in there plenty good. To play with tension, I don't have a whole lot of space in here. So to work tension, what I'll have to do is, it's all bolted down right now, but I'll have to put washers in here and shim the back of it up to move this down in order to put tension on the chain. And if you're wondering what's going on here, I went with a honkin' big 75 tooth sprocket right there, and I did my measurement right here for a 72, I think. So I'm a little off, but that's okay. I may box that relief cut in, or I may just leave it ugly. I don't know. Probably box it in. So kind of doing this more for a record for me for next time, if I try to remember what I did, because honestly, the first one I did, the first Cyclekart I built, I got, it was ugly. I ended up stacking one by and everything, and I had like, I don't know, 42 pieces of steel that I used. I mean, I was kind of using what I had. It was a lot of scrap. Don't laugh at my ugly welds right now. But it was real ugly. The first one I did, it was pretty ugly. It functioned after some sorting out, after a couple test trials. But I wanted this one to be neat, as few pieces and as neat as possible. And it's no Steve Vincent or Dennis Thomas. Those guys do really, really, really clean work. I'm aspiring to be as clean as they are one of these days, but I'm also kind of scrambling through this and just kind of rushing it. It's kind of my style. It's just the way I kind of am, and I know it's not really the best way to do this, rushing and everything like that, but it's where I'm at. So that'll get bobbed right there, obviously. When you have a tube bender and you make wrong bends with your tubing, keep the Benz around, and then you can end up using them for something like this. This was a discarded piece, and I'm like, it kind of fit what I needed it to do, which is just have a brace coming down from the front and add a little rigidity to that base, which I don't even have this thing welded in yet. Another thing, before you weld this plate in, absolutely make sure it's perpendicular to the axle. So, the frame rails can go off, 1/16 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch, maybe, here and there. But getting that plate perpendicular to the axle is key for your chain alignment. And I've got a very, very short chain. So you'd think it wouldn't be a problem, but I fought chain alignment issues the first go around on one of these. And I am not looking forward to doing that again. So before I weld anything up, I'll do a full mock-up and make sure it functions. I don't know if I'll crank the motor up, but I'll at least hook up the chain and spin it and kind of eyeball it and give it a sanity check. And if the sanity check's okay, then we'll go with welding it. You can also see when you clock this CVT to the 7 o'clock position, you gotta clearance that plate a little bit. It's no big deal. You also don't be afraid to. This thing's just aluminum. You can clearance the shit out of this thing too. My other one, I had ground all of this mess down right here so that the chain could come up through here, and it functioned fine. I never had a problem with it. In fact, if I'm gonna have to move this motor back, I'll have to notch the CVT right here just a tick. Probably a little triangle right there. If I want to try to move that back any, which I might do actually. That'll give me some more adjustment for my chain. All right, little update on this. Just wanted to capture some pictures here of how I got the engine mounted in there for mock-up. We're going to be out of town here for a few days, so this is probably going to be my last little bit I get to screw with it until we get into January. All right, happy cycle karting.